JRPGs are no strangers to amazing stories. That's one of the biggest draws of the genre, is people love the deep characters, the amazing, wacky stories. And someone like myself who values gameplay the most, I want to give you guys 7 JRPGs that absolutely blew me away story-wise, where the gameplay could have been absolute dog water and I still would have been absolutely amazed. So let's get into 7 JRPGs that absolutely blew me away with their stories. If you guys enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and definitely subscribe, as there's more videos on the way. Let's get into it. Now, I would like to mention, there will be very minor spoilers. I'm not going to go deep into the story details, but enough to where you understand where I'm coming from. Now, Persona 3 FES was one of the first JRPGs I actually played, and it had me just blown away at times, wondering what did I just witness? It's a very dark story, with the main character being a silent protagonist, but still giving off emotions of depression and being in his head a lot of the time. It's actually very weird, and I was conveyed this through the entirety of the game. I know some people didn't get that vibe totally, but there's others as well that were like, yeah, he seemed depressed even as a silent protagonist. I love the whole style of this game too. The way they use their evokers to call their persona, using the most stress their brain could handle. It's such a weird, creepy concept, and I really enjoy it. Everything about this game is just a bit edgy, and then when you're in your dorm, it gives off a kind of cozy vibe, like you're in this dream state the entire time. I absolutely love Persona 3, and the end portions of this game, while I will not go into detail, have some of the craziest scenes I have ever seen, some of the craziest boss fights. I absolutely loved my entire journey through Persona 3 FES. I wish more games would tackle these dark themes of death, because there's a lot of games these days that do have dark stories, but Persona 3 was definitely one of the edgiest and creepiest games I've seen in a while, and really hit me and told a meaningful story that I will remember for a long time. I binged the movies, and Makoto Yuki is just one of my favorite protagonists of all time now. Design-wise, character-wise, everything. And Aigis is also one of my favorite characters of all time. Shout out to the gangster toaster. Tales of the Abyss is an interesting one. This was the first game I actually ever streamed and kickstart my Twitch journey. This was one of the first Tales games I played too. I think it was the 3rd one I've ever played. It's been a long time since I played any retro style game, or even a game from the PS2 era. So hopping into this game, it was a little rough. The puzzles, the no directions, I was getting lost, I was raging. But one thing through it the entire time was the story was so good, and this game will make you die for its characters. If Tyr dies by the end of this game, my PC goes in the dumpster can. Tales of the Abyss goes on my list of never playing a game ever again. There's a few things with Tales of the Abyss that really enhanced the story and lore for me. One was the character animations and faces were so good for the PS2 era. They were so expressive, they made me laugh. I absolutely loved it. Now, with the characters and lore, there's a lot here. There's a lot of terminology they have. They set up their world building in a really in-depth way, and sometimes you'll miss a little bit of it. I mean, when I went through it, I did not understand all of it by the end of the credits, but the main story sections and the character arcs and everything really hit me. And the end portions of this game absolutely blew me away. They did what they absolutely could have to make it like the most bombastic ending for a PS2 era game. It was just insane. And then the highlight, of course, is the characters. The Tales series is no stranger to this, but Abyss really hit home for me, especially Luke and Tyr. Watching the relationship grow through this entire game was so awesome. And now every time I watch the intro, this scene in particular just sends goosebumps through my whole body. You guys see that hair flip? That shit was so good. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a wild one. I initially played this game literally by seeing memes all over Twitter and social media. People roasting the voice acting, the character designs, all of it. And then when I played this game, It was probably the most I've been blown away in years. It actually reinvigorated my love for JRPGs and video games in general. And I'm not even joking about that. When I first booted up Xenoblade 2, I made the comparison. It reminds me of Star Wars. And not because it looks anything like it, but there's so many different species walking around. Everyone interacts with each other. All these different areas just look so fantasy and colorful. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was one of the only games to actually make me shed some tears while playing a video game. I get emotional when watching stories, but I don't ever cry, really. And the end of this game forced me to shed some tears, and I think it was because I really related to Rex, and he's now one of my favorite protagonists ever. I think his voice acting is totally fine. I think he was written fantastically, and his arc about growing up happened around the time when I was growing up, and it hit me really hard. Almost all the characters have really in-depth and even tragic backstories, especially the antagonists, which I think are some of the best written villains I've ever seen. The flippin' tone is exactly why I love this game. You have these colorful, bombastic character designs, some funny jokes in there. People call it anime stuff, I guess. But then you have this serious, really in-depth story they're trying to tell. And you go back and forth from this, and the whole world just feels fun, fantastical. I just love it. I'm not even joking when I say it will be a long time before I ever play a game like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again. I loved 3, but it didn't hit the heights of 2 for me. Something about 2 just really hits my feelings and gets me emotional with these characters, and I know plenty of others who feel the same. If you know me or my channel, you know Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite in the series, but Kingdom Hearts 2 wins wholeheartedly in the story department. Kingdom Hearts 3 is my favorite gameplay-wise and because what it did to conclude the Xehanort saga. But Kingdom Hearts 2's story is one of the best sequels I've ever seen, story-wise and gameplay-wise, but I'll shut up about gameplay for once because this is a video about stories. If Kingdom Hearts captured you as a kid, you know how impactful the story is and how much of the feels it brings. But if you play Kingdom Hearts 1 and then Chain of Memories and go on to this game in this day and age, you're still gonna have a fantastic story on your hands. It has some of the best pacing I've seen in a video game. The way the intro, middle section, and end flow is really good. A lot of people don't like the intro because it takes too long, but that's usually because they're replaying the game. A first experience, I think it's super good and it's a mystery and drives you in. Even how I was just talking about how amazing Xenoblade 2 was, nothing ever tops Kingdom Hearts for me. The way the music, characters, and story flow just gives me the most feels I've ever had with a video game, and it just does not get topped. If you've never tried Kingdom Hearts, I would at least get to the second game. I say that because people don't have 10 years on their hands to go through the whole series, but Kingdom Hearts 2 is still one of my favorite video game stories of all time, if not my favorite. The Live Alive remake for the Nintendo Switch was super interesting. Now, the game has really fun combat, but it is minuscule compared to other JRPGs, and I need like really deep combat for it to blow me away. So what actually carried this game for me was its story, and I was surprised to see how much I loved it. So you're gonna be playing a bunch of different characters' storylines through the ages, and the way it kind of all connects together in the end was what blew me away. And the soundtrack is done by Yoko Shimomura, who did the amazing songs for Kingdom Hearts as well. So the end of this game just had me cheering with the way the music went and the story went. I absolutely loved it, and I haven't played many pixel style games, so to have a game like this blow me away with its story, and I must say the voice acting is great as well, this was a treat. If you're going to play this game, I definitely stick through it till the end because the end portions are some of the best, and I always am so grateful that my girlfriend has shown me this awesome game. I'm going to throw a few honorable mentions that either are sequels or DLC or something around that sort that have to do with these games. The first one is the third semester in Persona 5 Royal. Now, Persona 5 Royal has an amazing story. I covered it a good amount on my channel, but Persona 3 in the story department just passed it, and Royal's ending sections are where the majority of the craziness from the story comes in for me, so I'm going to have it more as an honorable mention, and I would rather give it other spots in different lists on my channel. The next honorable mention is Xenoblade Chronicles 1. This is what started it all. The story damn near matches 2 and is even better paced a little bit than 2. But 2 is more memorable for me and gives me more feelings, so that is why it's on the list. And this is on honorable mention, but Xenoblade 1 is just as good as 2. Some even like it better. Hell, throw 3 on here as well. Just go play the whole Xenoblade series. The last honorable mention is Tales of Arise. Now, this one hit me more so with its characters, and I kind of separate story and characters. I know they flip-flop and intertwine to make a story amazing, but Tales of Arise mainly excelled for me on its characters, so that's why I have it as an honorable mention. Some of the story beats actually fell flat for me, so there's a lot of other amazing things of why I love Tales of Arise, but the characters, and you may even love the story as well. JRPG stories are special, whether they're just super wacky and give someone a really fun time, or a really in-depth story that even helps them out in a hard part of their life. JRPG stories are just super awesome, and I super appreciate them even though gameplay is my main forte. Without an amazing story, you just have combat, and these all go together to make a JRPG what it is. Now, these 5 that I showed you are really special to me. They're either the most memorable, hit me the hardest when I went through them, or I think they could really blow someone away playing through it for the first time. Let me know, guys, did you play any of the games I mentioned, and did they hit you as hard as they hit me? Or even tell me, do you think some of these stories are dumb? I'm super curious. It's definitely harder for me to go into detail about a game's story because gameplay is what I'm mostly focusing on at all times, but a game's story is really special to me, and that's usually what'll get me attached. If you could give me good gameplay and an amazing story, I'm gonna eat that shit up. Hope you guys enjoyed my list of amazing JRPG stories. Again, let me know your favorites down below, or if you played any of these, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video as always. Have the best rest of your day, like, sub, and do all the algorithm stuff, and I appreciate you guys forever. Have a great day, all right?